What's up, YouTube world? Coming back here, week 10, PTF. First and foremost, I just want to say happy Veterans Day to all you veterans out there. Thank you for everything that you do. I'm grateful. This country's grateful. And no one will ever understand what you sacrificed for us. And so once again, thank you from me to you all. And then after that, let's just get right into it. Week 10's over. It's craziness. I told you the next couple weeks are going to be everything. Okay? The big games for week 10 did not disappoint. We had some upsets, had some craziness. If anybody watched it, it was a good week. And we only have like 3 or 4 weeks left of college football, a regular season. So it pretty much sucks. So let's get right into this. Week 10, obviously one of the big ones, Clemson FSU. Clemson pretty much showed that they're not a team to be pushed over this year, that they're legit. They have a real chance of winning the national championship, or at least getting to it, but definitely being in the playoffs. They're number one in the college football playoffs right now. So, look out for them. They're going to be impressive. Oklahoma State TCU. Oklahoma State showed that, no joke, Rudolph played one of the best games of his career, and they literally handled TCU. So Oklahoma State, big. Nebraska, Michigan State, huge upset. I don't know if anybody else watched this game. The whole push out of bounds thing, and the receiver coming back in and friggin' doing a thing, and craziness. I love college football. Great game. Michigan State upset Nebraska with like no time left on the clock. Comes back and wins it. Ole Miss, Arkansas in overtime. If anybody saw this, dude's getting tackled and he like throws his ball behind him and all this craziness, and they end up taking it down the field to like the 2 and getting the first down and diving in the end zone, and awesome. Ole Miss upset by Arkansas, another good one. Iowa is still undefeated, still rolling. They got Michigan coming up Minnesota coming up this weekend. Sorry, I can't talk today. Coming up against Minnesota, so we'll see. They should be able to handle that one. Minnesota is not a bad football team, but they're not the greatest. So, and last but not least, the real big one. Battle of the top 4 in the playoffs. Alabama, LSU. Alabama destroyed LSU. Shut down Leonard Fournette. Nick Saban showed that he does what he does, and he's a hell of a coach. Now, I called it. I said that LSU wasn't going to be ready next year. Next year they'll be ready. They're young, and that talent has got to develop before they're going to take Nick Saban down. Nick Saban's got a ton of seniors on the team. Granted, he's got a stable full of awesome players, but it is what it is. So that's your Week 10 wrap-up. Let's get into some conference talk, breeze the Heismans real quick, and then get into the big games in Week 11. Okay, conferences real quick. Now, usually I just, rack and stack who I think the best conference is. It's over. The playoffs are out. We're so close. It's time to start talking about who's going to win them. SEC, no-brainer. Alabama. After their showing against LSU, they're the best team in the conference. Granted, they have a conference loss to Ole Miss. If anybody watched that game, it was 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers, okay? So, throw that out. That was like Ole Miss beating Florida when in Tebow days, okay? It's a fluke. It happens. Team had a down day. Whatever. Bama's the best team in the SEC, maybe even the country, behind Clemson. Okay, it's Nick Saban. Come on, let's be real. Now, Big Ten, Michigan State lost. They showed that maybe they're not the best. I haven't been a fan of them all year. I think that they've had some question marks and played very questionable football here and there. Okay, I don't think that they were everything that they said that they were. All right, and Nebraska showed that. Granted it was an upset. Granted it was a long play. Whatever, last second. Hey, at the end of the day, scoreboard, that's what matters. So I think Ohio State is still the best team in the conference, okay? Now, Iowa's still undefeated. Iowa hasn't played Ohio State yet. Urban Meyer, whether it be J.T. Barrett, Cardell Jones, or Braxton Miller at the helm. They're the best team in the Big Ten. That's all there is to it. They have way too much talent. They're only going to get better, and that's that. Big 12. I'm probably wrong. I'm going to say TCU again. I know they just got pummeled by Oklahoma State, and State's still undefeated. Baylor's still undefeated. Like, the Big 12 showdowns are starting to come down. Okay, they've got a list of games coming up, and I don't see any of them going unscathed. Now, if they do, good on them. You deserve to be where you're going to be. But I don't see it happening. It's not going to happen, I don't believe. I'm going to say TCU. We'll see after this week. There's a big game coming up. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but I think depending the outcome of that, I might have to change my predictions. But I'm sticking to my beginning of the season. Pac-12, Stanford, been talking about it. They're the only ones playing consistently. Besides for week 1, Stanford has been the best team in the Pac-12. There's no argument there. USC's up and down. Washington's up and down. Arizona State, Arizona both falling off. Oregon, this isn't their year. Washington State can throw the ball a lot, but they can't do anything else. Same goes for California. Utah has taken a conference loss. I don't know if they're going to be able to climb back out of that. So, in UCLA, they're in control of their own destiny right now. So they've got Washington State this weekend. So it's going to be a very interesting showdown for them. Now, ACC, it's Clemson. Clemson's the best team in the country, I think. All around defense, offense, everything. I think Clemson's legit right now. And Dabo Swinney is a good coach. He's a player's coach. He's young. He's involved. He gets his kids fired up. That's what players need nowadays. Now, the college football playoff is out. Okay, so it's Clemson, Bama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. Now, that is 2 ACC teams, because I classify Notre Dame as ACC. There's 2 ACC teams in the college football playoff. So, maybe the ACC isn't as bad as everybody thinks. Just kidding. They're pretty bad. Clemson is really good. I don't see Notre Dame staying there. There's just too much. There's too many other big games going on. If someone goes unscathed through the Big 12, then they're going to jump Notre Dame. They have to. Okay, Notre Dame's a loss. Yes, they've lost to Clemson. Whatever. If Baylor goes unscathed or Oklahoma State goes unscathed through the Big 12, they're going to jump Notre Dame. They have to. There's no way that they're going to let one of these an undefeated team out of the Big 12 stay behind Notre Dame in the playoff system. There's just no way. So, there's your conference talk. Let's get in a little bit about Heisman's, and then let's jump straight into Week 11. Now, this is going to be quick. All right, your Heisman's really haven't changed. I've moved one up, but I still think Leonard Fournette's the best player in the country. All-around person, athlete, style, everything. You can still watch the commercials all day. Yes, Derrick Henry is breaking records or getting ready to break records for most consecutive games with a touchdown or broke the record. Nevertheless, when you watch highlights on ESPN, it's not Derrick Henry running, his 30-yard touchdown or running his 2-yard touchdown. It's Leonard Fournette spinning off of people, running over people, highlights this, blah, blah, blah. Yes, he had a bad game. Yes, he took a loss. Now, Alabama has a loss too, so you can't talk about, he's got a loss or, this guy's got a loss, so he can't win the Heisman. Now, both of them have a loss, okay? Now, the showing by Fournette would have been huge, but it wasn't. So, I still think Fournette's the best tailback in the country. Now, behind him, yes, Derrick Henry, no doubt has shown that he's a beast, okay? I think he has a shot at winning it, depending on what Alabama does for the rest of the year, and also depending on what LSU does for the rest of the year. Leonard Fournette keeps his yardage at 60 yards a game. Yeah, he's probably still going to be up there. So, Fournette, Derrick Henry, third, Ezekiel Elliott. Slowly but surely, he always is doing it. He's always doing big things, and he's just kind of staying out of the media. But Ohio State's still undefeated, and they did win the national championship last year. So, keep that in mind. After that, Trayvon Boykin, still one of the best players in college football. He really had a hard game against Oklahoma State. It's big. and they lost their #1 receiver. So, good receivers make quarterbacks look good. Good quarterbacks make receivers look good. But losing a player, his star receiver, was real big. So I still think he's in the talk, just not as much as he was. And last but not least, McCaffrey from Stanford. If I watch this kid play, runs with speed, runs with power, runs with determination. He pretty much just wants to hit people in the field all day long. Like, that's his mission out there, is just to hit people. That's all I got for the Heismans. And obviously things are probably going to change as the year goes on in these next couple weeks. Maybe rack and stack will be different, but you never change. So that's it. Like I said, that's it for Heisman. Let's get into the Week 11. All right, Week 11 is here, and it's almost over. I'm not a big fan of it, but you got to enjoy it while it's here. Thursday night, kicking off, my boys right here. First game back since Frank Beamer announcing his retirement. Now, Bud Foster usually has his defense ready to go for Georgia Tech. Virginia Tech got beat last seconds by Georgia Tech last year. We'll see. I usually won't ever pick my Hokie boys as a winner or a loser. I just talk about it. So it's going to be interesting to see. Virginia Tech needs to win 2 of their next 3 to be continuing their bowl eligibility streak, or their bowl streak, or to even be bowl eligible. They've got Georgia Tech tonight or tomorrow. They've got UNC, and then which is Frank Beamer's last home game, and then they're traveling to UVA, which is probably going to be both coaches' last games of the year, because I don't see Virginia going to keep Mike London around. He's had like 4 straight losing seasons, and talking about how great they're going to be. So that's that. All right, after that, we got the Civil War coming up on Saturday. Now, the implications of this game are nothing like they used to be. Okay, Georgia-Auburn, it is what it is. Auburn beat Texas A&M last week. Doesn't mean that they're any better than they were. Okay, I'm going to take Georgia in this one. I think Georgia's still a decent team. Nick Chubb going down was a huge loss to them, but Georgia should beat Auburn. Then we got Miami, UNC. Now, the Tar Heels can clinch the division with a win. I don't understand how Miami's not better than they are. The area that they live in, or where the school is, and the recruits that they should get out of it, they should be a powerhouse year in and year out, but they're not. What do I think? I think UNC is going to win. All right, I think UNC is going to clinch the Coastal for the first time, especially since we've even had a conference championship game. UNC should clinch it. Maybe they'll clinch it, just back off and let Virginia Tech beat them. I don't know. But that's my pick on that one. Now, Bama, Mississippi State. Roll Tide. Bama all day. They're going to beat Mississippi State. It's not even going to be close. Okay, I know Prescott's playing, whatever. I don't care. Alabama's going to go. They're going to take it all the way to the playoffs. Win it all? We'll see. But they will at least get to the playoffs. LSU, Arkansas. Ain't going to be none of that trickery next time. You think Leonard Fournette ain't going to be pissed after last week? LSU over Arkansas. Oklahoma, Baylor. Bob Stoops is going to have his troops ready to play. The young quarterback of Baylor, yes, he's got a lot of firepower. Oklahoma's going to show up, I think. Oklahoma over Baylor. I know. Watch out. Iowa, Minnesota. Minnesota likes to hang with people. So if Iowa makes a lot of mistakes, look for Minnesota to win this one. Do I think they're going to? No. Iowa over Minnesota. UCLA, Washington State. Now, UCLA has done very, very well against passing offenses. They did well against Cal. They hung with Colorado. It's like Mike Leach and company. It's like Washington State over UCLA. I'm not real sure if UCLA can do it again. Maybe third time's a charm, right? Stanford, Oregon. Now, there's a game that usually has implications of whether it be national championship, conference championship. Oregon's been in the top 3 for the past 4 years. Not this time. Stanford over Oregon. Stanford's going to win the Pac-12. And last but not least, Memphis, Houston. 2 ranked opponents. The Memphis offense and the Houston offense. Should be interesting. I'm going to take Memphis in this one. So, There's my picks for week 11. I'm 56-32 on the year. I had a bad week last week. Those upsets killed me. So, make sure you get your comments to me if you got anything. If not, everybody have a great week of college football, and I will see you back here for week 12. You guys have a great weekend.